In this last section, we want to talk about change management and how by employing formal change management processes, we can accelerate and achieve a successful digital transformation. Now, the relationship between change management and adoption is interdependency is the best way to describe it. Adoption, as we've seen, is all about getting people to use the technology on hand to have them to adopt it more readily. Change management, on the other hand, is really focused on the people. How do we get the people in our organization, at the team and individual level, to change, overcome the resistance, and become more capable and willing to use the digital technologies we're putting into play? A couple of thoughts about change. One of my favorite quotes is by John Maxwell, a leading theorist on leadership development and what does leadership really mean in our society, where he talked about that change is inevitable, growth is optional. And it very much is in line with what we've been discussing in this program, that through the digital revolution, through the transformation, change is going to happen, is happening, is going to continue to happen into the future. Our job as leaders is to understand that change and to grow and acquire new skills and to help our people do the same. Second thought about change is that all change is personal. Organizations don't change, people do. Because organizations are just a bunch of people trying to get something done. So we need to understand that when we're talking about change, introducing technology into our environment, we're really talking about enabling our people to change, to embrace the new way of doing business. Another key element that we want to think about is that when we introduce change, and this is especially important during a digital transformation, it's not only about learning something new, it's unlearning what we already know. The fact is that when we introduce change, it is very much, as we saw in the 5 factors in digital adoption, it's about comparative analysis. Relative to what I'm doing right now, how is this change going to be different? What are the benefits of it? Is it worth the risk? So we need to understand that there's a way of doing something now, and when we change it, you have to unlearn that and learn something new. And do we account for that in our strategies and plans? And the last thought about change is that our approach to change very much reflects our approach to leadership and management. One of my favorite quotes is, "Who we are determines how we lead." And during the change process, during digital transformation, that becomes into much sharper focus. So we need to be aware that do we need to change as leaders in the way we approach the adoption of technology and the way we enable our people to change in order to make it happen as quickly and as efficiently as possible. When we think about change, we also need to think about that it is a process unto itself. The fact is that change starts off, do we manage the expectations? These 2 curves demonstrate that unmanaged change tends to start with high expectations, often unrealistic. And what happens with every change? It hits a trough. Resistance sets in and trouble. It's hard. Change is a full contact sport. So as we go through the change process, there's always going to be a dip in productivity, a dip in motivation, a dip in engagement. When we manage the change through a formal process, the dip is much more shallow and we get out of it much more rapidly. Where unmanaged change, it's unpredictable and can be a very deep trough, and we may never get out of it. And when we continue to manage the change process with the formal methodologies, practices, we tend to get the results that we want faster. Whereas unmanaged change tends to take a little bit longer, and we might never get there to begin with. Now, there are a lot of models out there, some great ones for different situations, for different contexts. But ultimately, they all break down to 5 basic steps in the process. One is we need to recognize and assess what's going on, what do we need to change. We assess the forces in the marketplace that are saying that we need to change, become sensitive to change, and then we move to step 2, which is we define what do we need to change. Step 1, we assess that there's a need to change. Step 2, we define what that change is. Step 3 is we build a plan. And of course, one of my favorite sayings about plan is, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. But the corollary to that is that nobody survives first contact with the enemy without a plan. The famous Mike Tyson quote is that every plan lasts until you get punched in the face. and then we see what happens. So we assess there's a need to change. We define specifically what is it that has to change. We build a plan about how to go about changing, and then we put it into play. But before we put it into play, we want to make sure that the workplace is prepared. And you'll see in a moment we go through a commitment curve. What we're going to talk about is the notion that there's got to be a general level of awareness in the population as we start to move people through the change process. So we assess, define, plan, prepare, then we execute. And there's no such thing in an organization comprised of people as a one-shot deal. We need to accept the fact that change is an ongoing process, that when we begin to implement and execute our plan, we're going to need to adjust it. And as we adjust it over time and using agile methodologies and iterating to the right solution, we need to find ways to sustain the change. So change is a process. A formal process allows us to get to our results faster. And by using these 5 steps or any change model, you get to better results faster. And you get more and more people involved. Because what we've found through best practice and research is that we want to include in the change process the right employees at the right time in the right way. What this simply means is that we get better results the higher the level of engagement of our employees in the process. So we look to embrace and engage and enable as many employees as possible to participate in the process. At the very early stages, we may have our high potentials, our supervisors, our line managers helping us define and assess and plan. And then we might broaden the audience when we start to prepare the organization for the change. And then how do we touch all of the people in the organization? So we truly can make a better change plan when we engage the right people at the right time in the right way. One final thought about change and people is that people tend to go through what we're going to call a commitment curve, which means that organizations and people go through 4 stages before they take true ownership of the change and embrace it and make it their own. The first stage is awareness. And the sooner we can make people aware of the change and think of changes you've gone through in your life, when you're aware of them and people have informed you about them and talked about the benefits of them and why they're important, that awareness leads to an openness, leads to the ability to, okay, I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to start to embrace the change a little bit. And with digital transformation, there's a lot of resistance. Because as we said, you combine the notion of digital literacy and competence with the willingness and the motivation about do I want to really embrace the change? Can they, will they? By making them aware early, conditioning them to a certain degree that this is going to happen and why, you start to move up the curve and get to a level of shared understanding that there is a need to change, whether it's competitive pressures, whether it's that cost pressures, whether it's the need to do more with less. So if we create a level of awareness, the next stage is a shared understanding that there's a need to change. And then when you start to roll the change out, you start to get people more engaged, they reach a level of shared commitment. The key word here being, of course, shared, that it's not just a leader telling people what to do. That is a community practice that ultimately will lead to better results. So the commitment curve is, am I aware of it? Do I understand why we're doing this? What's about to happen to me? Do I start to develop a shared understanding that this is important and this is what's going to happen and when it's going to happen as I begin to execute my plan? And then I can get to that level of shared commitment where we're in this together and we want to make it work. And ultimately we get to the top where we adopt it as our own. We take ownership of that. So any change management process, any issues, anything we can do to drive the change enables us to get there together. And together we're taking full advantage of the resources, accepting the change, and truly enabling our organization to move through digital transformation as rapidly and as efficiently as possible. So, enough talk from me. Let's go to our final exercise where we ask you to pull all the pieces together. And you'll find in the workbook there is an exercise that asks you to think about all of the things we've done already to this point, all of the application exercises we've done, and to think about change management. And we give you some specific examples of what you might be able to do about how governance is structured, how you can put support in place, and some sustaining things you can do to continue to drive the change. So please take a moment, go to the workbook, complete the final exercise, and we'll come back and wrap it all up.